So guys, again, thank you so much for being on the orientation call for United Home Group. We're really glad to be in business with all of you. Thank you for being here with us and being on this call. The goal of today is going to be to get you an overview of how do you leverage this partnership at the highest level possible, okay? So we're going to go through a lot of information with you. That's intentional. We are recording it, and so we will be able to get you a recording after for those of you that are watching with us. But today we're going to dive into all aspects of the partnership. We're going to go backwards to be able to come forward. And so we're going to definitely give you guys some good insight as we move forward. Now, some of you on this call have been with United Home Group for some significant amount of time. Some of you are brand new to United Home Group, and some of you have been with us since day one, and you're just auditing to check in on what the orientation calls look like now. And we're glad to have all of you here with us regardless of length of time. So who are you listening to? My name is Ben Fairfield. I'm the Director of Expansion and Sales for United Home Group. I'm a certified John Maxwell coach, trainer, and speaker. And I've known Cody Gibson, the owner of United Home Group, for quite some time. And we'll talk more about that here shortly. My background is in real estate sales. I then grew and ran the largest real estate office for Century 21 in the world, and that's how I got recruited to Keller Williams and took over a failing market center. The rest, as they say, is history, because Cody and I were in the same region together. We were both team leaders together, and we've known each other going on 9 or 10 years now. So below my picture here, you're going to see a couple links, and I would challenge you or recommend that you write these down, not because I need another friend on Facebook, not because I need another follower. We put out a lot of content. We put out a lot of content, and if we put all that content into United Home Group, you guys would get numb to it. You wouldn't hear it anymore. It would just become noise. Okay, so these are places you can connect with myself if you want to see some of that extra content. So yes, Facebook, yes, Instagram, yes, YouTube. Now, YouTube, we put out weekly training videos, coaching videos. So if that's your jam, definitely go to youtube.com/Ben Fairfield, subscribe there, hit the bell icon so you're notified in real time when new content is uploaded. Instagram, we do more mindset stuff. And then Facebook is just, you never know what you're going to get there. So definitely connect with us there. Cody is on as well. He's not as active, but that's changing. However, if you want some more content, some more gas for your tank, if you will, definitely connect with me in those 3 spots. Now, speaking of Cody Gibson, so I'm going to give you guys the history of United Home Group. So Cody Gibson is actually a high school dropout. Cody Gibson did not finish high school. He grew up in Anchorage, Alaska. He had an interesting upbringing, and as a result, he dropped out of high school and went straight into the workforce. And Cody Gibson was actually the youngest manager in Kmart history. Now, I joke with him and tell him that's why they're out of business. However, he was very successful with the corporation before they had their problems. But Cody learned a lot in that process. So Cody's education, as you guys have heard him speak and you've seen him present, his education is all real, it's all earned, and it's all blood, sweat, and tears. And that's one of the things I appreciate most about him. You guys are in a noisy spot. Go ahead and mute yourself. There we go. All right, so Cody grew up in Anchorage, Alaska. He was working at the Kmart Corporation. One of his friends was a real estate agent. And that's what got him into real estate, because his friend cashed a $10,000 check, and Cody thought that's what real estate agents did every day. Like, that's what everybody on this call does every day, I'm sure. And what that friend didn't tell Cody was that that's not an everyday occurrence. However, he got in. If you take the 7 steps to 10 listings a month, he had a very good start and ultimately got into the management and the leadership side of real estate. He was then recruited to Keller Williams to launch Keller Williams in the state of Alaska, and he launched and built what is still to this day the largest real estate company in the state of Alaska, which is Keller Williams Alaska Group. Now, after living in Alaska his whole life, Cody decided in 2011 that it was time for a change, and so he looked all across the country, and he found a couple places he was deciding where he wanted to move. Portland ultimately won. Because of the access to the outdoors and things like that, while still having access to big city stuff and good airports. And so Cody moved to Portland, knew nobody, moved his whole family to Portland, Oregon, didn't know a soul. And in his first year in Portland, they sold over 100 homes, and Cody never met with a buyer or a seller. So he had a really successful start down there. Now, yes, you heard me correct. He sold over 100 homes in a city he knew no one in his first year there, and he personally never met with a buyer or a seller. And so he was sitting in a mastermind with Gary Keller, And they realized what he had just stumbled upon was what this thing that they were just loosely talking about at the time called real estate expansion. Okay, so that is the genesis of what became United Home Group. Now, at the time, they were called Portland Real Estate Group, which that's our sister company in Portland. But as you guys can guess, it would be difficult in your market area for us to be called Portland Real Estate Group. So Portland Real Estate Group is our sister company. That's the first location we had. Everything else is United Home Group. And since then, obviously, we've grown a little bit. In the first 3-4 years, there were only 2 to 3 locations for United Home Group. Now we're in over 122 market centers. We're in over 20 states, and we have over 250 partners. So a lot has changed in just a few short years, and yet we couldn't be happier to have Cody at the helm, guiding us and casting vision for the organization. The guy to the right here you see is Jeff Reyes. Jeff is our Director of Lead Generation. Jeff actually started out as a partner with United Home Group. Jeff ran his own team, merged that team into United Home Group, and has since come to be a really integral part of the team. Now, a lot of you guys have been on his Tech Tuesdays calls that he does every Tuesday, where you can come on with him in a Zoom format just like this, and you can get tech advice, tips, how to use the technology at a high level. Jeff's a phenomenal resource for us. He knows all things technology that we provide, so make sure you're taking advantage of that as well. And then down in the center here, you see Eric Leroy. Eric's our Director of Operations. Eric runs all things operations in the hub, including transaction coordination, call center, and all of those things. Eric joined us just recently. Eric came from running a large RE/MAX team in Eugene, Oregon, moved to Portland, Oregon to take on the opportunity with United Home Group. So we're really excited to have him on board. Now, who is United Home Group? Now, I know some of you have seen this before, and some of you, this might be the first time. But let's go through this very briefly. We're not going to take a lot of time on it, but I want to spend some time here because, guys, it's important you understand who we are, what Cody and I's perspective is, and how we see what it is we're doing so that you remember or know or reminded why you're a great fit here. So our mission is to provide the tools, systems, and training of top producing agents to all agents across the country who want them. Now, here's the key to that. It's the last 2 words. Want them. You understand, I can bring you all of the tools, technology, systems. I can bring you everything that mega agents have. And if you don't want them, if you're not willing to use them, they're not going to do you any good. So instead of going for everybody, we're looking very targetedly, specifically for agents who actually choose to and have a desire to use the tools, the system, the coaching, and the technology that we provide. Guys, I want you to keep this in mind. So it took Cody and I, this is my 14th year in the real estate business. It's taken me 14 years to get to the point where I can afford all the tools we offer you. And for most of you, you got access to them within 48 hours after joining us. Now, we're glad to be able to provide them. I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I think it's phenomenal, and I want you to keep that context. It took me 14 years. It took Cody over 14 years. It took us a long time to be able to provide and afford what we provide to you guys 2 days after joining our company. The choice is yours and what you do with that. And so we really want to encourage you to lean in because we want to find those agents who want to use those tools. Our vision is to bring coaching, innovation, and inspiration to those committed to becoming the best versions of themselves. You're going to see in your partnership with United Home Group, this is not just about selling real estate. It's part of it. However, there's so much more to who you are and who I am than just real estate sales that we participate in. So we're looking for helping people and people that want to become the best versions of themselves possible. Our values, we're solution-minded and results-driven. Solutions-minded and results-driven. Our lives are a clear reflection of our accountability to our goals. We're going to talk about that A word, that accountability word. That's the secret sauce in this entire game for everybody, regardless of company or brokerage affiliation. Accountability is the key. And if you just puked in your mouth a little bit, you're in good company. It's okay. We're going to talk about that. All right, next. We lead with integrity, candor, and passion. So right now, I'm going to ask you guys to unmute yourselves really quickly. And I'm going to ask you some questions because it's a lot more fun if it's interactive. What do you think of when you think of the word candor?
Honesty.
Okay, honesty, absolutely. What else?
Realness.
Realness, yes.
Being real.
Okay, love it, Joy. Yeah, absolutely. Who else?
Upfront.
Upfront, Stacy, absolutely. Any other thoughts on candor? What does that mean?
Integrity.
Integrity, absolutely.
Truthful.
What was that?
Sincerity.
Sincerity, yeah, absolutely. Can I tell you guys how Cody and I see candor?
Yes.
Okay, so how many of you on this call, just raise your hand, how many on this call have kids or grandkids? All right. Now, here's what I want to ask you as parents. When your children were babies, were they cute?
Yes.
Now, here's what I can tell you. I've asked that question to thousands of agents over the course of 14 years, and I've never heard one parent say, no, not really. No, my kid was pretty ugly. No. Every parent says, my kid is the cutest. My kid is absolutely adorable. Yet you and I, if we're objective and we're walking by those parents, there's a kid or two where we walk by and we'd be like, ugh, like that kid's not cute. That's an ugly kid. And if you don't agree with me, you're lying to yourself because there are ugly kids out there, right? Candor is telling you that your baby's ugly.
Ooh.
Candor is telling you that your baby's ugly. Now, in this example, in our relationship, what would your baby be?
A house?
Your business.
Oh.
All right, so not all of our businesses are ugly all the time, but are there times where our business is uglier than we think it is, than we see it is? Do we make excuses for our business and want to make it out to be prettier and cuter than it actually is? Yes or yes?
Yep.
So candor, guys, candor is telling you that your business, your baby is ugly if that's what it is. If that's what it is, because we're committed to you accomplishing your goals. And we're not doing you any favors by telling you that your ugly baby is really cute. Does that make sense to everybody?
Mm-hmm.
That's candor. It doesn't mean you're going to want to hear it, but when it's done correctly with the right heart for the right reason, you need to hear it, and we'd be doing you a disservice not to tell you. So candor is telling you what you don't necessarily want to hear when you need to hear it. That's candor. Are you ever going to think of candor the same way?
Nope.
You're going to think of ugly babies. That's exactly the point. So candor, we're going to tell you what you don't want to hear, but you need to hear it. We're going to do it with love. We're going to do it because we care about you. But that's candor, guys. That's part of accountability. That's part of being in a group of people who are so committed to you achieving your greatness that they're not going to let you lie to yourself. We lie to ourselves better than anybody. And we believe our own story almost every single time. So we'll tell each other it's better than it really is. Oh, no big deal. I'm behind my goal, but I've got next week. I've got next month. Don't worry. I got next quarter. And then we get to November and we're like, uh-oh. Well, I've got, 2 weeks before Christmas. Like every agent in the world goes through this, either has or does, right? We want to break that pattern. And so we're going to have you in an environment to where we're going to love you. And we're also going to tell you that you need a kick in the pants and your baby's ugly. Okay? That's candor. We're going to lead with integrity, candor, and passion. We're always going to do it out of integrity for the right reason. We're definitely passionate about your success. And we're going to have an environment and we're going to give each other permission to speak frankly with each other and challenge each other's thoughts and perceptions and viewpoints and the stories we're telling ourselves. Okay? Next, our beliefs. We believe that you can have excuses or results, never both. Yes. This comes from Bold. Yes. Cody's the #1 Bold coach in the country. You're going to see a lot of our stuff that comes from Bold. Oh, by the way, a lot of that stuff comes from Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, which was our book of the month this last month at United Home Group. Guys, we believe you can have excuses or results, never both. You don't get to have both. Either do it or don't do it. There is no what?
Middle
Right.
ground?
There's no try. Yoda, baby. There's no try. Do or do not. There is no try. You either do it or you don't. There's no middle ground. Okay, next. We believe that success of your business is parallel with your personal success and growth. This is exactly why we do books of the month every month at United Home Group. You're more than just a real estate salesperson. And if all we do is pour into and help you develop that part of you, that's great, but you get lopsided. And other things suffer, right? So when you're with United Home Group, we're going to have conversations in our coaching, in our dialogues, in our Friday development calls. Every communication we have, it's going to be about growing you as a whole person, not just a salesperson, because we're all whole people. right? None of us are just real estate salespeople. Next, we believe you're in partnership, not a passenger ship. Now, here's what I want you guys to clearly hear me on, even more so than the ugly baby conversation. Here's what I want you to hear me on. We're looking for partners. That's why we call you partners. That's not an accident. That's very intentional. We call you partners. Now, when something goes wrong, notice that I said when. I didn't say if. We're all doing something that's never been done before, and we're doing it 10 times faster than anyone else has ever done it before. When something goes wrong, somebody who's a passenger, well, they come back to the company or the regional director. They come back, and their approach is, what are you going to do to fix it? That's a passenger. I'm just along for the ride. Anything that goes wrong is your problem. Fix it. Fix it now. What are you going to do about it? That's a passenger. Now, how does a partner approach the same situation? When something goes wrong, what does a partner do? How does a partner approach that?
With problem solving.
With problem solving, absolutely. And a partner says, what are we going to do to fix it? Do you get the difference? Oh, by the way, this goes true for your business too. When something goes wrong in your business, we're partners. And so Cody and I, your regional directors, we're going to come to you and say, what are we going to do to fix this inside of your business? If we're approaching this as a passenger, it's the wrong ride. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Talk to your regional director and tell them, I don't think it's a fit. And that's okay. We're looking for partners, not passengers. Partners. What are we going to do? Because together we're both going to achieve more. That mindset is what we're talking about here. Now, last but not least here in this belief section, we believe that consistency is the big brother to success. Guys, Gary Keller says it this way, and it's a great one to write down if you've never heard it. He said, the millions are in the mundane. The millions are in the mundane. Gary's also said, success is incredibly boring. And I get the privilege of seeing Gary a couple times a year. This last year, it was a lot because we were formulating some of the changes that you're going to start to see with expansion. Fourth quarter, we were back there 6 times. Every single time, Gary reminds me, success is incredibly boring. What does he mean by that? What are your thoughts?
You're not challenged and you don't grow.
Okay. What else?
Doing the same thing over and over every day.
Yes, who was that?
Mike.
Mike. All right, so Mike, our regional director in Colorado, yes. Guys, here's what he means. Success is boring because here's how Gary defines success. It's simply the repetition of the fundamentals. Success is the repetition of the fundamentals. Are the fundamentals sexy, new, and exciting? No. What are they?
Boring.
They're boring. Like, nobody loves doing the daily grind. I promise you. Guess what, though? The people that do it consistently love the paychecks that they cash. The millions are in the mundane. Success is incredibly boring. Guys, this is why Cody and Gary and I had this conversation last month. Literally, there are people, when you're around KW long enough, this is my 9th year at Keller Williams. When you're around KW long enough, you go to these events and you'll see a couple agents on stage or team leaders or whatever. You'll see these people on stage and they're celebrated for great accomplishments, which they earned. That's great. And then 2 or 3 years later, Cody and I are like, hey, where's so-and-so? And they're like, oh yeah, that person's not in the business anymore. Like, what? That person was just on stage with Gary Keller. What do you mean they're not in the business anymore? Well, see, they got bored with doing what got them onto the stage. And so what did they look for? Shiny objects, pills, and potions that mean they didn't have to do the work and they could get the same results. And what happened to their business? It's gone. It doesn't exist anymore because they got bored with the routine and the fundamentals. And so they started doing everything else they could think of to try to find excitement. The only problem is everything that they started doing replaced the stuff that actually worked. So there's going to be times, we're going to talk about it later in this call, there's going to be times where we're going to push you to go back to the fundamentals. And guys, trust me, I do it to Cody. You're going to roll your eyes. You're going to be like, I already did that. I'm not a brand new agent. Tell me something I don't know. Guess what? At the end of the day, the stuff that you already do know works. You just don't do it enough and you don't do it consistently. So we're going to have those conversations. We're going to push you to go back to the basics. We're pushing hard on database this year and building your database. Why? Because it works. Why? Because few people compete with you there. Why? Because the conversion rate's the highest it possibly can be out of any lead generation source. Oh, by the way, Gary's been saying this for 20 years. And what's the first thing most agents stop working? Their database, because it's boring and routine and mundane and systematic and requires consistency. It's not exciting. Yet everybody's excited about the results it produces when it's done consistently, okay? So that's huge. Consistency is the big brother to success. Now let's look at perspective. We're a company of high-level thinkers that acts like a coach, trains like a pro athlete, and is hyper-focused on the constant and never-ending improvement to our service, productivity, and profitability. Now that's a lot of words. Let's break it down really quick, okay? When we say trains like a pro athlete, what do we mean by that? How does a pro athlete train? What comes to your mind when we say that?
Consistently.
Consistently. You heard me clearly the last point. I love it. Yes, consistently. What else?
Hard.
They train hard, right? They leave it all in the field. What else?
Dedication.
Dedication. Absolutely.
They have a training plan.
They have a training plan. Absolutely. Which they very rarely stray from. Yes, absolutely. What else?
Accountability.
Say that again.
A coach.
Yes, we're going to talk about that next. Yes, yes, yes. And here's what I want you to think of. Professional athletes, regardless of the sport, does not matter the sport. Are they paid obscene amounts of money most of the time?
Yes.
Yeah, like to you and I? Yeah, like obscene amounts of money. And here's what we know. When we say trains like a pro athlete, those very people who are being, in our estimation, paid obscene amounts of money, when they show up to practice every single day, not once in a while, but when they show up to practice every single day, that's when they're making it count. That's where they're leaving it all in the field. That's where they're not holding anything back. Because you understand that by the time game day shows up, it's too late for them. Game day is go time. They don't have time to even think on game day. You guys remember, if you're football fans, three Super Bowls, 4 Super Bowls ago, there was an incredible catch that people still talk about. And the receiver, literally seconds to go in the game, is flying down the end to the end zone, right on the sideline. Ball is thrown, leans out, drags both toes, catches the ball before falling onto the ground. And oh, by the way, that set them up for a touchdown to win the Super Bowl. My point is, that person in that moment did not have time to think about what they were going to do. They instinctively reacted because of their time spent where?
In practice.
Practice. Do you think they practiced that play thousands of times before?
Mm-hmm.
Every single day. Guys, here's the deal. We train like a pro athlete. It means we train every single day and we practice every single day as if it was game day, because by the time we're at game day, it's too late. And a lot of agents wait for game day to do their practice. A lot of agents, most agents, don't have a script practice partner. We have an initiative at United Home Group this year. I want you to write it down. Get something, even if you have to write on your hand or your arm, or grab your neighbor's arm. I don't care, but get ready to write this down. 1, 10, 20. 1, 10, 20. You want to practice like a pro athlete and be a superstar at UHG? I'm going to give you the secret formula. It's 1, 10, 20. 1 is we're going to add 1 new member to your Met database each day. You're going to hunt and search to find 1 person to add to your Met database each day. Oh, by the way, regardless of where you started, if you do that consistently this year, now we're in April, but you'll have over 300 people potentially added to your database. That's a big deal, and you're just doing 1 a day.
Hey, Ben, is
Yes.
that people you actually meet in person?
Yes, yes. So it's the difference between, if you guys haven't read the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, or it's been a while, check out the section on database, lead listings and leverage, the 3 L's, but he talks about there's 2 groups, the Met database and the haven't met database. Now, your Met database is people that know, like, and trust you. If I was in your town and said your name, they'd be like, yep, that person is in real estate. Now, a haven't met database is everybody else, and we need both. We need both. Yet the conversion rates are completely different. Gary's research and the team's research for years has said, and just got reaffirmed with research for the rewrite of MREA, that your Met database converts at a ratio of 12 to 2. For every 12 people in your Met database, you should expect 2 closed transactions per year. Your haven't met database, the bigger population, converts 50 to 1. For every 50 people in that group, you can expect 1 closed transaction. Now, I've coached agents who have built great businesses both ways. You move to a new town, you're building your business in a haven't met database. You just need to build a bigger database faster. There's not a wrong approach, but the one of the 1, 10, 20, we want to specifically focus on adding 1 to your Met database per day. Business days, 5 days a week. Okay, the 10 is 10 minutes of script practice per day. Now, this seems really small and really boring and really mundane, but what I'll tell you is most agents practice on their clients, and that's incredibly expensive. So you can either practice on your clients and have a crappy conversion rate, or you can invest 10 minutes a day with a like-minded person to do your role play or real play and practice on another agent so that when you show up to the client table, it's game day. You don't think about it. You just say it. It's internalized and you're just responding. You're not thinking about what to say. You're focused on how to say it. So 10 is the 10 minutes of script practice per day. And the 20, does anyone want to guess what the 20 is?
20 contacts a day.
20 contacts.
20 contacts a day, guys. 20 contacts a day. Now, for some of you, you hear 20 and you're like, good Lord, that's a lot. And some of you on this call, I'm sure, are going, 20, that's easy. I do that every day already. Great. Both of those, totally great. If you're not yet at 20, get to 20 as fast as you can. Build that muscle and get into that rhythm and routine. If you're at 20, then I have another challenge for you. So if you have not yet gotten to 20, we're working on contacts for contact's sake. You're just building the muscle and the routine. Now, once you get to where 20 is not that hard anymore and you're doing 20 a day, no problem, what do we switch to?
For contracts.
For contract's sake. So when we're already in 20 and 20 a day is not that hard for you anymore and you're used to that rhythm and that routine, you've built that muscle, now we're going to purposely switch from contacts just for the contact sake. You're going to switch for contacts for contract's sake. Now we're making a higher level contact. Now we're being more selective at who we're contacting. Do you see the difference? Huge difference in mindset. So 1 is 1 added to your Met database per day. 10 is 10 minutes of script practice per day. 20 is 20 contacts per day. That's your 1, 10, 20. You will hear us talk about it a lot at United Home Group. You want the path, the secret sauce that's not so sexy? It's the 1, 10, 20. And I promise you, you do that every single day, you're going to love your business at the end of this year. That system, that formula works if you do. Another system we're using before we go on, another system we're using is called Do the Database 2 or DTD2. You're going to hear us talk about that as well. And inside the workplace group that Selena's going to show you, every week we're going to post 2 letters of the alphabet. And the way this works, really simple. The way this works in tandem or in conjunction with the 1, 10, 20. You commit that week to contacting everybody in your database who has a last name that starts with those 2 letters. Really simple. And yes, they're going to mix the letters up because what they did is they looked at how many people in the general population have last names that start with a certain letter to make sure your number of contacts is as even as possible throughout the course of this project. So every week on Monday, you're going to see a post. This week is A and W. Every week, you're going to see a post. You're going to see a post every single week with 2 letters. Your only job outside of 1, 10, 20 is to contact everybody in your database with last names to begin with those 2 letters. You do the 1, 10, 20 and you do the database 2. Guys, I'm telling you, this is really simple. This business is incredibly simple. It's not easy. It's not without hard work, but it's incredibly simple. We as human beings just make it more complex than it should be. Okay? So you're 1, 10, 20 and you do the database 2. That's how you're going to train like a pro athlete. And that's how you're going to get the business you're hoping to find. Now, somebody said you're going to have a coach and you're going to lean into the coach. Absolutely, you're going to lean into your coach. Now, United Home Group, who is your coach?
Regional director.
Your regional director. Now, here's what I want to tell you. So I've had the privilege of working in this industry a long time with a lot of successful people in now 2 very successful brands, Century 21 and Keller Williams. I've worked with a lot of talented people. And I've not ever worked with more talented people in a group setting than I have or am right now in regards to your regional directors. Guys, I want you to understand that majority of your regional directors have been or are MAPS coaches. The majority of your regional directors have been or are BOLD coaches. We're not talking like people I found on the street corner and said, hey, do you want to host a Zoom call once a week? We're talking about people who have a track record of massive success. People who have a track record of other people throwing money at them for their advice. Now, you being a part of United Home Group, well, that doesn't cost you anything monthly. Excuse me. And like anything else, it only works if what?
If you do it.
It only works if you do. Now, your regional director, here's how I would approach this relationship. You do what you choose to, but here's how I, Ben, would approach this relationship. If you're not yet getting the results you want, when you joined United Home Group, if you're looking for something different, if you want different results, if you're looking for a different outcome, which should be most of the people on this call is my guess, if you want different results, then you have to take different actions. And so the way I would approach it if I were you, I'd go to the regional director and I'd say, you know what? I've tried it my way and I'm not getting the results I want. So now I'm going to do it your way. It doesn't mean I'm going to love every part of it. It doesn't mean I'm not going to push back on you at some points, but I'm totally turning my schedule and my business over to you. You tell me to jump, I'm going to jump. Whatever you tell me to do, however many times you tell me to do, wherever you tell me to do, like whatever you say, I will do. Have you guys ever had your business in the hands of somebody else at that level before?
No.
Guys, I promise you, that puts the exact kind of pressure we want or you want on that regional director to get you the results you're looking for. And when somebody shows up with that level of accountability, your business changes, it transforms. But how do most people approach coaching and accountability? I want you to give me some ideas, and then I'll just kind of pick and choose and decide what I'm going to do with it. And then what does their business look like? Does it change a lot? No. If you're looking for change, if you really want the success that you say you want, if you truly are committed to achieving what you say you want to achieve, I want you to go to your regional director and I want you to lean in and I want you to tell them, you're my coach, you own my schedule, you tell me how I should spend my time, where I should go, what I should do, and I'll do it, because if it doesn't work, it's on you. But I'm going to show up and give it everything I got. Show me that I'm wrong. Show me the way I was doing it is wrong. You prove to me that you know better than I do. Guys, I'm telling you, every single time that's happened, because I still coach some agents inside of our company, every time this happens, results show up. And it's a big leap of faith if you've never had this relationship with a coach before. So I'm going to challenge you to think about that relationship that way. Now, one last thing I want you to know why this is so significant the way we've set this up. Does anybody know what the salary is for a regional director at United Home Group?
I do.
What is it?
Zero.
$0. $0. No, these people don't work for free, but from the beginning, Cody and I decided from the beginning that there's no way we wanted our coaches, our leadership to be able to win in spite of our partners. They can't win around you. They have to win through you. The only way that our regional directors are paid or compensated, the only way they feed their families is when you feed yours. Guys, I don't want you to miss this point. This is a big thing. I'm not just asking you to have that level of accountability with them. I'm telling you, they absolutely are committed to your success, because if you don't eat, they don't eat. I don't know about you, but there's not been many times in my life where I've had that kind of a relationship with somebody. When I've had somebody that much in my corner, pushing me and motivating me and wanting my greatness for me, wanting my results more than I want to fight for my limitations or excuses, this is it, guys. Because if you don't win, they don't win. Now, again, that only means something or matters if you do something with it. Now, here's what Gary Keller says. Gary Keller says this is his success formula. Success formula, okay? 10% comes from clarity of your goals. So 10% comes from having clarity of what you want. 10% comes from having specificity of the plan of how you're going to get that. But math majors, what does that say? How many percent's that?
1.
It's only 20%. 80% of success comes from having what?
Accountability.
It's accountability. It's the A word, guys. It's everything we've been talking about. You can have clarity of goals. You can have a specific plan on how you're going to get there. Yet 80% of what moves the needle comes from having an accountable relationship and accountability in your environment. Now, again, for accountability to work, there must be permission given. So you have to go to your regional director and say, I'm giving you permission to hold me accountable. And here's what that means to me. And when you do that, guys, I promise you, you're going to love the results. Now, speaking of results, little thing called the Pareto principle. Has everyone seen this before? It's called the 80-20 principle. Now, here's what we know. What we know is 80% of what you do gets you 20% of the results. And only 20% of what you do gets you 80% of your results. So when you hear inside of Keller Williams people talking about your 20% activities or your 20% most important or dollar productive activities, they're saying that because those activities are predictive of your success. Those activities, those 20% activities are going to get you 80% of your results. Now, that being said, what would you guess your 20% activities are as a partner with United Home Group? Not everybody at once. What do you think? What are your 20% activities? Say as a real estate agent, it doesn't even have to be at United Home Group.
Just making our
Lead generation?
Lead generation for sure. Yes, absolutely. What do we mean by lead generation? What specifically?
making the calls, just interacting with people.
Yeah, making your calls, interacting with people. Guys, here's the deal. We overcomplicate everything as human beings. Literally, I can't show you the check because it has a routing number on. Well, I have a check here for $1,000 that per one of the persons that I coach wrote to me because they struggle doing their 20% activities consistently. And so instead of saying, oh, I'm motivated by the goal, I have a check for $1,000 from this person that I get to deposit to the group they made it out to, and it would kill them if that group received that check. So what do they have to do to keep me from taking it to that entity and depositing it? What do you guess?
Make their goals.
Make their calls, do the stuff they should be doing anyway. But guess what's happened? It's Wednesday, and this individual already has their weekly goal of lead generation and contacts completed. Have you had that level of accountability to somebody? Guys, your 20% activities are the things that move the needle. Everything else is a distraction. Everything else can fall into place around it. Are you putting on your calendar and blocking time to protect the time for the 20% activities that mean the most? Here's the other deal. I hear from agents sometimes, oh, I don't have enough people to contact. Guys, do you know what the sandwich boards are? Like the people used to wear, like when they're selling newspapers, like has one on the front and one on the back. Like literally, you could wear one of those and walk up and down your main street and just have it say, I sell houses, talk to me about it. And if you did that all day, I could get you one person that's interested in talking about real estate. Like this does not have to be complicated. Yet we hide behind complexity, or we create complexity sometimes to avoid doing what we know we need to do. So it doesn't have to be super intuitive or new or flashy. It doesn't have to be technology based at all. Bottom line though, your 20% activities are having two-way conversations with people about real estate. That's your 20% activity. Because when you do that enough and consistently over time, you have no issues, no problems. Okay?
Hey, Ben,
Yes.
if they get in a bind, just make up or use your area code and make up a phone number. You'll find someone to talk to.
There you go. Guys, seriously, Diana Kokoska, who wrote Bold, And Mike was a bowl coach for years. He's heard this story, but literally she had people that would come to her and say, I don't know who to call. I'm out of people to call. And she would jot down some names and numbers and hand it to them. And they'd come back and they'd be like, oh man, it was great. You know, I actually made some contacts. I set a couple of appointments. Like, can I get some more people from that list? And she said, sure. And what'd she pull out, Mike?
The white pages.
The white pages phone book. Yes, I'm dating myself a little, but we used to have phone books printed, and she pulled out the phone book. All she was doing for this person was picking random names and numbers out of the phone book. But because they thought that it was a hot lead, because they thought that it was from a certain magical list, they had no apprehension. So they called them, and guess what happened? They had activity, they had conversations, and they set appointments. Don't overthink this. Now, when you're starting with United Home Group, or if you want to relaunch inside of United Home Group, maybe you didn't give it everything you should have when you first came on, that's okay. You can hit a reset button. We have a tool called the 30, 60, 90. It walks you through what should I be doing the first 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days at United Home Group. Guys, it lines it out, and I'm not going to go too much in depth into it because I want you to talk to your regional director about it. It's on the partner portal. The regional directors have copies. If it's me and you want to launch successfully or you want to relaunch more successfully, I'm going to go to my regional director and say, I want to walk through this to the T. Guys, we literally line out what you should be doing activity-wise each week. It's a checklist. You just check off the things that you should be doing. We also include this daily success tracker form. It's a phenomenal tool for you to track your 20% activities every single day. Now, at this point in time, I'm going to turn it over to Selena, who is absolutely fantastic. A lot of you guys know Selena. If you don't, Selena assists me in a huge way and keeps my life square. She also assists Katie, one of our regional directors, and you're going to see lots of posts from her throughout the organization. But I am going to go ahead and give her screen share ability, and she's going to walk us through some specific tools that you guys should be using and taking advantage of inside of UHG.
Awesome. Thank you. And we are going to take it way back to the basics. So if you're new, this is going to be a great resource for you. If you have been with us for a while, obviously it's a refresher, or you'll learn a little bit here and there. So there are 4 pieces that I usually like to focus on when bringing on a new partner. And those areas that we want to focus on are going to be our Gmail account. So you should have your Gmail username and your Gmail user password. If you don't, definitely reach out to your regional director because we want to make sure that you have immediate access, as a lot of your systems are funneling into your Gmail account, and we want to make sure you are up and going immediately with that. In addition to that, you want to make sure that you are getting super familiar with your United Home Group calendar. In your calendar, if you are not familiar with time blocking or familiar with how to find your calendar, we're going to take a look at that, and I'll show you some examples of how to time block. And then the third piece we're going to take a peek at today is going to be workplace. This is where you're going to find all of your day-to-day activities. So any trainings that you want to attend, any changes that are happening within United Home Group, this is the place to be. This functions exactly like Facebook, and I would be super shocked if someone on here does not have Facebook. And if you don't, I'm sure your regional director would be happy to do a small tutorial with you on how to work Facebook and workplace. And then the last piece we're going to take a small peek at is going to be your partner portal. So the partner portal is massive. It has absolutely everything that you need within that. And we want to make sure that you know how to access. So first, I'm already logged into my United Home Group Gmail account. Mine is empty right now, but yours will not be. With that being said, you're going to want to start at the bottom of your emails and work your way up, because that first email that came in, there's some introductions. And then as you work your way up the ladder, you're going to find that you have several of your systems that have already come to your account. If you aren't familiar with how to find your calendar, you just go up to, there's a little cube up here, click that, select your calendar. And this is where you are going to see It's most likely going to be blank for you. However, I would like for everyone to go through and time block a bit. So some pieces that you do want to time block for are going to be script practice. This may not work for you at 8 a.m. All of these time frames are Eastern Standard Time because that's where I'm located and that's how my calendar is set. However, you want to make sure that you find a script practice and that you join some sort of, whether it's one-on-one or group, a couple of times a week. Another piece that you're going to want to time block for are going to be posting your stand-up and gratefuls and workplace, and we're going to take a look at that. And then on Mondays, or you can speak to your regional director on which day they prefer you to submit your 411. This is something that you're going to personally want to go through with your regional director and build it according to your life design. On Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays, you see in green, we have a few trainings that you can attend every single week. I have time blocked for all of this, and I have provided myself the link. So that way, if I am out and about, or I had to run to the grocery store, a sick kid, whatever the case may be, if I still want to join in, you can download Zoom on your phone. So sometimes we give ourselves excuses as to why we couldn't join a training, yet we still have several questions. For me, this allowed me to not have those excuses. So what I did is if I'm out, I can join this Zoom training. I can mute myself. I can, take my face off of it so that way not everyone sees that I'm driving, yet I still can hear what I need to hear in order to get information for that day. So Monday you have Hub Facts where you can join in and you will have a little bit of training on bits and pieces of the systems that United Home Group provides. And then, as Ben mentioned, on Tuesdays we have Tech Tuesday with Jeff. And again, as you can see, what I did is I went into my calendar and I added the link where you can type in an address. But I also at times put the link in as description. And then also on Tuesdays, so you kind of get a little extra training here, which is amazing. You have sync training. Now, sync is your CRM. It does not come until your 30-day mark. However, I highly, highly suggest that you join your sync training as often as you can, or you go in and find recordings, and I'll show you where to find those as well. On Wednesday, you have Agent Think Tank. This is where one of your amazing regional directors throughout United Home Group is going to come in, and they're going to train you on something that they feel is going to bring value to you and all of United Home Group. So we want to make sure if time allots for you that you join in one of these 4 trainings or all 4. On Thursdays, as you can see in red, submit your weekly numbers. Again, I went through and provided myself how to enter my weekly numbers. I went through and copy and pasted from the partner portal the link that shows me how to enter my weekly numbers. So if we click on this link, it's literally a quick form. Again, I provided 0 excuses for myself to be able to go in and submit those weekly numbers. So it's just your name, and there's a couple of questions, and you click submit. This is huge. This is tracked. You will be able to see this every week on Friday. You'll get an email that shows you whether or not you were on the Friday call, which we'll talk about, and then you will also see where you categorize amongst your peers and your partners in regards to where, number of contacts you made, any appointments that you went on. So we want to make sure that we are submitting those every single Thursday. It doesn't have to be at a specific time, just as long, I usually like to tell our partners as long as it's before bedtime, but somewhere in your calendar, please time block for that because that is very important. And then on Friday, we have our all partner call. Right now, you can go in, this is a dial. Pretty soon we are going to change this up and you will be completely informed. But you want to make sure that you are on the Friday call and that you've time blocked for that, because we want to make sure that you are getting all the valuable information that you can to wrap up your week and what you need to start a fresh week for the week coming. This is just a little template that, it kind of shows you some areas to focus on. So we have our Monday, our Tuesday double training, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So this will be out on Workplace, which we are headed to next. But you want to make sure that you are packing yourself with all the knowledge that you possibly can, as, they're kind of, honestly, there isn't an excuse not to be well informed and well trained, because United Home Group has provided so many resources for you, and it's great to take that opportunity and take advantage of those. The next system that you will have in your email is Workplace. You will be provided the username and password for this. There are shortcuts on the left and there are shortcuts on the right-hand side for you. So that way you can go directly to where you need to. You will each have your own regional page for your region specified. So for example, we're just going to take a peek at the Michigan region. In this, your partners in your region or your regional director is going to come through and post any information that they feel is beneficial for you, or if you need to reach out to your partners, this is a great landing page to do so. You also have a shortcut called Stand Up and Gratefuls. And as you remember, I went ahead and time blocked in my calendar to post those at 9 a.m. my time. And basically what this means is, and you can do this in any form or fashion that suits your style. So you want to share 5 things you're grateful for and 3 big rocks. This applies to that 80-20 rule that Ben was talking about. So for example, we'll use Jordan today. He is grateful for each of these bullet points, and then he lists his rocks, meaning the things that are most important that he needs to take care of. And then of course, he's also posted a picture of his dog. So everyone, like I said, has their own style. This person likes to go through and specifically write each, what they're grateful for. So grateful for, and then their rocks. You can, again, any form or fashion that suits you, you can go through, take a peek at what everyone else is doing, and then see what works best for you. But we want to make sure every day we are in here posting our Stand Up and Gratefuls. Another shortcut that you have is new business. Now in new business, anytime you list or sell a home, you want to come in here and post, for example, seller pending, the address, the price, and the source. A good thing to do and highly suggested would be to go in your phone and download the Workplace app. That way, if you're out on the weekend and you take on a listing or you sell a home, you can just come in here and post that really quick. Also, if you go in and you make a flyer, you're more than welcome to post just the flyer, if that works better for you. But remember, anytime you have new business, we want to make sure we are in here posting your seller or buyer pending or your listing. Now we're on the message board. So in message board, this is your everything. Please time block to take a peek in this every single day. If not, I'm in it a couple of times a day. As Ben mentioned, the DTD2 letters will be posting each week. Again, this week is A and W. So this will come posted and pinned each week to message board to kind of show you where we're at. But the trainings that we were talking about that I have time blocked in my calendar, you're always going to be able to find these in message board. So like today's orientation is here. And then we'll scroll down. So, we have Think Tank coming up and the Zoom link is here. Even though you have time blocked for this in your calendar, it's a good idea to come in and just triple check to make sure there have not been any changes. And then along with looking at the trainings coming up, make sure that you are finding your specified time zone. So it's easy to make the mistake. I've made the mistake. I'm sure a lot of us have, unless you're just real keen. But you know, I've gone in and, you know, I'm like, hey, I'm 3 hours early. Just kidding. I should have showed up at 3 versus 12 Eastern Standard Time. So we want to make sure that we are paying special attention to that. And again, any information that you need in message board is going to be here for you. You also have group chat over on the right-hand side. If there's anybody that you need to reach out to, again, this functions exactly like Facebook. And, you know, if you have any questions on the functionalities, please reach out to your regional director. And then if you are getting notifications, please come into your settings. And in the back end under notifications, you can choose what you want to come to your email, and you can also choose what you want to come to your phone. So once you've downloaded the app, make sure you come into the back end under settings and turn on or off. That way, you know, your phone isn't going off all day long, but you are just getting the pieces that are most important to you. And that is our workplace. The next area that we're going to go through is going to be this last section, which is going to be the partner portal. So it's uhgconnect.com. Once we are in this screen, you'll go to more partner login, access the partner portal, and then you're going to enter the portal. And I would like to make note that you need to be solely logged into your United Home Group Gmail account. And basically what that looks like is going into your email, because I know some of us have a few accounts, and making sure that we're logged out of every single email account that we have. With that being said, once you're in the partner portal, this is going to become everything for you. All the training tools that you need. You know, when you sell a home, when you list a home, you are going to want to make sure that you bookmark your partner portal. So if you have just sold a home, we're going to take a quick peek into some of these links. You're going to meet your transaction coordinators. You'll want to come in and you'll be able to enter your pending here, or if there is a canceled pending, there's also a link for you. And then at the very bottom, make sure that you maybe screenshot this or print this, but this is good information to have, you know, once you're under contract, the beginning process all the way to the end. So everything in blue is what your transaction coordinator is going to assist you with. And then everything in red is what you are going to want to do, all the way down to saying thank you. So we want to make sure that we are paying special attention to this, because it is all outlined for you. The same with the listing. When you come in and you're ready to enter that listing, it is all outlined of everything that your transaction coordinator is going to do for you and your expectations. When you come to the middle, this is where you will submit your listing. It will walk you through step by step. And then if you have any questions, please reach out to Jordan. He is amazing and he will help you with absolutely anything. And then Jordan has also provided some quick links. So you know how we went into the workplace and we wanted to share our new business. Jordan has provided us a quick link to go straight to that so we don't miss that opportunity. Open houses you can schedule, creating your own custom listing marketing, posting to social media. If you have a price reduction, please come in and submit that price reduction so that your transaction coordinator knows exactly what's happening and they can assist you with that price reduction. This is your call center information. And then remember, sync does not come to you for 30 days. However, when you do have the system, you can market your listing with sync for more leads. And then you have a call center. So when you come into the call center information area, you can submit for open houses. You can also submit call arounds for just listed, just sold, or if you have a buyer. So all you do, you want to come in, maybe time block, and just start clicking around on the link. But specifically, if you have a buyer, you know, just make your notes and the call center is going to call around for you. And then just a couple more pieces, your lead generation, please go through and print or download your script book, submitting your 411, everything that I showed you that I time block for in the calendar, I also, I have found here. So, anything that pertains to you or is most important to you, you can definitely time block that in your calendar. All of your growth tools, your regional director is going to go through these with you, and you are going to adjust these for your goals. And then here are some training videos for you. So as you go through and you have some questions, make sure that you time block and maybe take these a couple of pieces at a time, just to get familiar with some of your systems. Here you have links for your support. And then under marketing, your listing and buyer materials are here. Business cards and signs, once you have completed the link for your United Home Group application, this will be taken care of. So signs come at your 60-day mark. Business card proofs will be sent to you within 14 days, and that way we can get those out to you. Business cards, again, just note, they are mailed to your market center. We're going to look at your listing materials for a quick second. And in listing materials, or just absolutely any of the materials that you are going to want to go in and maybe put your picture or your name, you want to make a copy. And if you forget how to make a copy, there is a video for you. However, if we take a quick look into one of these documents, super, super simple. You just go under File, make a copy. You're going to rename it, and it is most likely going to save into your Google Drive. So if it vanishes, can't find it, hey, Selena, I did that, it's gone. Make sure you look in your Google Drive, but this will allow you to go in and edit this for your preferences. And Facebook A to Z, door knockers, if you need United Home Group logo for any specific reason, whether you want to put that on, let's say a t-shirt, a hat, you want to make stationery, or you want to make anything for social media, that is going to be found in your Docs Hub. And this is just, guys, like I said, this is a pretty big deal. You're going to want to go in again and just time block for, going through each section and familiarizing yourself. Again, 4 areas that you want to focus on. Just start at the basics, get familiar with your Gmail, get familiar with your calendar, go in and look at everything on Workplace, and then absolutely go through your partner portal and make sure you are familiarizing yourself. And that is it from me.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Selena. We're going to wrap it up here momentarily. We've just got a few more things to go through. So one other tool I want to make sure you guys are all absolutely taking advantage of is the 33 Touch. Now, if you've not read the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, the 33 Touch is touching our sphere or our database systematically and consistently over time. Now, what we know is that 12-to-2 ratio that I gave you of converting people out of your met database and the 50-to-1 ratio out of your haven't met, well, those are all predicated on you actually doing a 33 Touch program. So what we know is most agents understand the importance of it. However, most people don't do it. So what we at United Home Group do is we do it for you. So I want you to talk to your regional director. This is as simple as you submitting your database in a CSV file to our marketing department. They come up with custom campaigns every single month, and they send out on your behalf. So it looks like you emailed it to your database, and they're going to be touched every single month consistently throughout the year. Now, this doesn't take the place of any one thing you're doing. However, what it does is it allows you to set it and forget it and make sure that this important piece is happening. So again, all you have to do is submit that list to the marketing department. Your regional director can help you on the how of that. However, get that to them, and then every month, you just submit people that you've added. So hopefully you're doing the 11020, you're doing the database 2, and you're growing that database. Every month after your original submission, you're just sending in any additions, and we'll make sure that those people get on your campaign so that you know what's happening without you having to think about it. Now we're going to talk about lead generation, guys, and this is an important component. Lead generation is obviously huge, and at United Home Group, we coach to a 3-legged stool model. 3-legged stool. And here's what we mean by this. Your business should have 3 sources of inbound leads, 3 sources of business in order to make you shift proof. immune to whatever the market does, shifting up or down. So what we know is we coach that three-legged model. Now, one of the tools we use, or one leg of your business, is database, like we talked about, that 33 touch program. That's why we provide that for you. The second is internet lead gen. Now, internet lead gen is Commissions Inc. is what we use for that. Not only is it your CRM, it's also what we use to drive pay-per-click traffic, online traffic, back to your site to register and become a registration. Now, a couple key points of clarification. First off, internet lead gen, I want you to write this down if you're taking notes. Internet leads, according to the National Association of Realtors, convert between 2 and 4%. 2 and 4%. Now, that doesn't mean that they're not good leads. It just means that they convert between 2 to 4%. People are starting online much earlier in the process than they ever have before. And so the whole goal with online lead generation is finding them as soon as possible, communicating as quickly as possible, and staying in consistent communication over time. What we also know is this. A lot of people confuse this. They confuse the definition of a lead. Now, when you get your Commissions Inc. site turned on, if you've not yet had it or if you do have it, you're going to have people that register on your site. And a lot of partners make the mistake of calling those leads. And here's what I want you to hear. Those are not leads. Okay? Everybody that starts on the internet is starting looking for property. And we're going to call them a suspect. Well, mind you, that suspect then registers on your site to get more information, to see more pictures, what have you. They become a registration on your site. Now they're a prospect. And your job as the agent, through communication and diligently working them, is to turn them from a prospect into a lead. And we only consider something a lead when you've had two-way dialogue with them, communication with them about real estate. So we're going to have a big funnel. We're going to put as much in the top of that funnel as we can so that the 2 to 4% conversion rate spits out the amount of business you want. So Sync is an incredible tool. It's considered the Rolls-Royce of online lead generation. And again, it only works if you use it. All right, 2 other tools that we allow you guys to have access to. We pay for, you don't have to. Incredible tools. 2 of them. First is LandVoice. LandVoice we have a national account partnership with. You guys are all have access or granted access to LandVoice. LandVoice pulls expired and for sale by owner data for you. Okay, so it's a great data mining tool. It also can do data pulls for circle prospecting. Now, CallFire is the dialer tool that we provide you. CallFire is a multi-line dialer, meaning it calls, when you load a list into it, it calls a couple of numbers at the same time, and it automatically connects you with the first one that answers. This allows you to make lots of phone calls very efficiently. Now, when we partner these 2 together, guys, that's where the secret sauce happens. LandVoice gives the data, and if you make the request in the partner portal, our team will actually load the data that you pull through LandVoice into your CallFire so that the next day when you wake up and you show up for lead generation, your list is loaded, you click go, and you start dialing for dollars. Again, 2 really, really great tools. You've got to get in and play around with them. All the training for this is on the portal, and I would encourage you today to go in and just play around with these. You're not going to break them and get comfortable using them because they are going to be parts of your wealth determination for this year. Now, we also have a call center at United Home Group. Now, the call center is a group of people who are making the coldest of cold calls for you. Now, if you're like me, you don't like cold calling. And so what we did is we took this off of your plate. And so the call center is going to call around every time you list or sell a property. They're going to circle prospect that home for you on your behalf, saying we just listed or we just sold a property in your neighborhood. Who else do you know that's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Now, second, what we also know they're going to do, they're also going to do open house call arounds. So if you submit through the partner portal, you want a circle prospecting for your open house, they will do that for you. Again, all of it is done through the partner portal. The call center is an incredible tool, and hear me clearly, it does not replace your lead generation. The call center is doing the lowest converting calling for you, so your time is best spent doing the higher converting calling, spending time with the people who give you the highest chance of a return. Now, this gentleman right here, his name's Tony Dungy. And if you're not a football fan, I'm going to give you a quick story, but there is a point to this, I promise. Tony Dungy came onto the team of the Indianapolis Colts. At the time, the Colts were not a great team. They did not have a great record. And at that time, the track record or the push inside of the National Football League was to get a bigger and bigger and bigger, a thicker playbook, more plays, more plays, more plays. And when Tony Dungy came onto the Colts, he said, you know what, hold on. No, we're not going to do that. He said, we're going to pare it down. And he pared it down to 10 to 11 plays. 10 to 11 plays. He went so fundamental, so basic, he went 10 to 11 plays, and that's all that they practiced. And that team got so good at those 10 to 11 plays, they didn't have to think about it. Well, if you know football or you watch football, you know that this strategy worked out really, really well for Tony. He's since retired, but he turned the team around, and they have a few rings on their fingers to thank him for. So guys, again, he pared it down. And like we talked about before, we're going to take you back to the basics at times on United Home Group. We're going to ask you to go back to the things that worked. We're going to ask you to do consistently the things that you don't think are sexy or new or fun. However, they're what you need to do. They're important for you to do. So we're going to take you back to the basics oftentimes, because what we know is when we do the basics and the fundamentals consistently, we'll beat everybody long term, every single time. Now, this gentleman right here, this guy's name is John Wooden. Now, John Wooden is famous for being an incredible basketball coach. John Wooden coached college basketball. And some of the best phenoms, some of the best players of all time in the NBA professionally came out of his program. And the story that everyone talks about with John Wooden, yeah, it has to do with socks. And so John Wooden would recruit some of the best talent in the country at the time in basketball. They would come to his program, and the first practice, they didn't touch a basketball. The first practice, he taught them how to put on their socks and tie their shoes. And his premise was this: if you don't know how to go back to go small, you'll never go big. You have to know how to put on your shoes the right way. You have to know how to put on your socks the right way, because if you don't, you get a blister. And if you have a blister, you can't play and you sit on the bench. And if you're sitting on the bench, you can't help the team. Guys, same premise here. He took a counterintuitive approach to double down and focus on the basics and the fundamentals, knowing that that approach would allow him to build a foundation that could build a really successful organization, which he did. Now, one of the basics that we use, and we're going to encourage you to use, is called the 411. And the 411, if you're not familiar with it, stands for 4 weeks, 1 month, 1 year. And so your regional director is or should have walked through with you your annual goals. On the partner portal, you're going to see something called the UHG Business Calculator. This is like the economic model for the MREA that walks through all of the stuff. How much money do you want to net? And it walks you backwards through what is the activity going to be required to get there. We take that information and bring it into your annual goals here. And then this tool allows us to break that annual goal into a monthly goal, and then more importantly, into a weekly goal. So we take what is normally a big, hairy, audacious goal, and we break it down into a weekly goal so that you always know if you're on pace or off pace. Now, about the 411. One thing some of you don't know about me is I'm actually a pilot. I have a degree in aeronautics. I'm a pilot and air traffic controller, which, as you can tell, I'm using that degree. It's a really expensive piece of paper, but one thing I took away from it that ties into your 411 is this. So what you see on the screen right here, well, this is the cockpit of the airplane I learned to fly in. And these gauges were our life. And what I mean by that is they would take us up and they would put a hood over our eyes so we could not see outside of the airplane. We could not see out the windows. All we could see was this dash in front of you, just these gauges. And they would take the airplanes into unusual attitudes, and they'd mess with our equilibrium, because our equilibrium as human beings works by seeing line of sight or seeing the horizon. And so if they would block us from being able to see the horizon, and they would do unusual attitudes, it would mess with our equilibrium. We would literally not know up from down, sideways from flat. We just wouldn't know. And so they would take us in these unusual attitudes, and they would teach us to trust the gauges. And so they'd get us in unusual attitudes, and they'd tell us, okay, get the wings level, nose level. And our job was to get the wings level, or what we thought was wings level, and our nose level. And they'd say, tell us when you're there. And we'd say, okay, we're there. And they'd say, okay, take your hood off. And we'd flip the hood up, and we were either nose up, which is going to be a stall, and we were going to crash, or nose down, which is going to be a crash. Guys, the point is this. John F. Kennedy Jr. is a perfect example of this. John F. Kennedy Jr. was flying off the coast of Martha's Vineyard. John F. Kennedy Jr. got into a situation where he could not see outside the cockpit of his airplane. He was surrounded by clouds, and as a result, he lost horizon and line of sight. And his equilibrium started playing tricks on him. And so instead of trusting his gauges that were always going to be reliable, they were always going to tell him the truth, they were always going to tell him exactly where he was in relation to everything else, instead of trusting those gauges, he trusted himself. And ultimately, you guys know how the story ends. Ultimately, when he thought he was keeping his nose level and wings level, he was actually nose down and in a tilt, and he took himself into a spiral that took him into the ocean. Guys, my point is, in the way these connect, your 411, they are the gauges of your business. Your 411 are the gauges of your business. They are always going to tell you the truth. They're always going to tell you where you're at on pace to your goal. They're never going to allow you to get away with lying to yourself about it's better than it is. They're always going to tell you the truth. So having this 411 created and filled out with your regional director is going to be absolutely massive. It's going to be absolutely critical to the success of your business. Again, though, you have to use it to get benefit from it. Now, one of the tools we also use at United Home Group is called the 15th Protocol. And the 15th Protocol was designed by Gary Keller and his mastermind group of top agents. And the 15th Protocol is simply what they masterminded around, activities that are most predictive to get people back onto goal pace if they're behind their goal pace mid-month. So on the 15th of every month, you should be using the 15th Protocol if you are not on your goal pace. And you're going to see on the left is the partner version. On the right, yeah, we have one for regional directors too. Now, the way this is designed, it is not a menu. You don't get to pick some options from, or some items from options 1, option 2, option 3. You pick either option 1, option 2, or option 3, and you fully execute the option you pick. And guys, what I'm telling you is when you take this 15th challenge or protocol challenge, it gets you back on pace every single time. Most people, though, when they accept the challenge, don't fully execute. As a result, they don't get the results. So lean into the 15th Protocol. Oh, by the way, if you're new or if you're just behind on your annual pace, you don't have to wait for the 15th. Make the 15th Protocol your everyday protocol until you're back on pace. Now, I'm going to ask you guys a question here. I want you to count how many birds you see on the screen. You're going to count how many birds you see on this telephone wire.
10.
10 birds, yes. Now, I'm going to tell you a story. These 10 birds are sitting on telephone wire, and 9 decide to fly away. How many are left on the telephone wire?
1.
The answer is 10, because 9 decided to fly away. Guys, here's what I want you to take from this. Deciding is not doing. We've given you a ton of information on this call today. And in the moment, you could just be nodding your head and say, yep, that makes sense. Yep, that makes sense. Wow, this is really cool. And you've decided you're going to use it. Like, I don't want you to decide. I want you to do. Get into action. Take action with what it is we're giving you for any of it to make a difference for your business. And last but not least, guys, this quote by John Wooden, this is where we'll wrap up. He said this. He said, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, you need a team. Guys, we understand that you could do this business without us. And we're real clear that we could do the business without you. But what we know is when we work together as a team, we're both going to get further faster. So guys, we're really, really grateful to be in business with you. Thank you for being on the United Home Group Orientation Call today. Please let us know if you have any questions. Lean into your regional director. Lean into the tools and resources at UHG. And we look forward to seeing you guys on a training here soon. Have a great day.